In this video, I'm going to show you the 10 best villager trades in Minecraft. These are trades that let you get emeralds faster than ever. I'll cover the trades that are super easy to do, some that could be farmed, and even a few hidden secrets that most players don't know about. Stick around till the end because I'll reveal one trade that can practically give you infinite emeralds without any effort whatsoever. Starting at number 10 on the list, the Fletcher stick trade. This trade isn't bad, but also isn't near the best, which is why I put it at the bottom of the list. 32 sticks is equivalent to 4 logs, and because wood is limited in Minecraft, you could easily run out of wood. And although an AFK tree farm would work, the amount of time it takes to set up the TNT duper, moss chamber, and bone meal farm could just be put into one of these 9 other trades. Moving on to the next trade, the fisherman boat trade. I made a video talking about this one, but I didn't realize how limited wood was, and it burns out just a little slower than the Fletcher. But if you really wanted to put your wood into getting emeralds, you're better off with this trade than the Fletcher stick trade. This next trade is actually good, but requires some time. Here's how to do it. You first make a gravity block duplicator. Then you get a bunch of gravel and lay it down. Then you use a Fortune 3 shovel and probably mending and efficiency and convert it all into flint. If you're a bit more serious about this one, you'd probably make some sort of piston layout to mine the gravel as it falls. But once you have all the flint, you give it to the weaponsmith selling 1 emerald for 24 flint, or you could give it to the Fletcher for 26. The number 7 trade is actually AFKable. If you get a silk touch pickaxe and probably get efficiency because it makes it easier, you could place blocks like this and make an AFK stone farm. I've not tested it by the hour, but I know you could get a stack in about 90 seconds. You'd give 20 stone to the stonemason for an emerald. So if you set up some sort of XP bottle system or stood next to an AFK XP farm, you could put mending on your pickaxe and infinitely mine stone while you aren't near your game. Speaking of AFK, this 6 farm is also AFK farm, but doesn't require nearly a maxed out pickaxe. Pretty much, if you set up a decently sized bone meal farm that gives you around 1 to 3 bone meal a second, then you could use this farm. All you have to do is place blocks like this, and just put bone meal in the chest. Now you hold down right click and get infinite sweet berries. But if you're on mobile, I would just use the stone farm as you can hold the break button. But anyway, a maxed out butcher is what you can actually use to redeem your emeralds, because for every 10 sweet berries you harvest, it trades for 1 emerald. Moving on to the 5th best trade, the dried kelp trade. In my kelp video, I said that 1 dried kelp block was traded for 1 emerald, but that's not true. But now it's 10. But still, dried kelp is really easy to get if you use a simple technique. You first build a little kelp farm, which takes very few items to make, but if not, just make sure you have some sort of way to get infinite kelp, because that's what you'll need. You first smelt 9 kelp into 9 dried kelp. Now craft that into a dried kelp block and use that to fuel 20 more kelp into dried kelp. Now make 2 blocks. Now you'll have 2 left over, and also, you would have made over 100% profit. Now if you do that again, you'll have 4 blocks, then 8, then 16, and you get the point. You don't need fuel except for the first 9 kelp. And once you're in the big numbers of kelp, you'll be smelting stacks and stacks at a time. And just a helpful tip, similar to how smokers smelt food, because you can technically eat dried kelp, it is also food. So smokers smelt dried kelp faster. You could use the butcher again to trade the dried kelp blocks for emeralds. Now, onto the really good trades. This trade is from the farmer and it's overpowered. If you level up the farmer, then you'll get this trade, 6 pumpkins for 1 emerald. Now you have 2 approaches to get infinite emeralds. The first way is to make a bone meal farm and make something similar to the sweet berries where you use a dispenser and a pumpkin seed to make some sort of harvester where you don't have to do anything. The other approach would be to build a huge pumpkin farm with a similar harvest system and get 1 pumpkin every few seconds. Depending on how big you make the farm, you'll get a different amount of pumpkins. But anyway, this is a great way to AFK or just earn a load of emeralds in the background. This 3rd trade is just plainly better than the last one. You see, while the farmer does 6 pumpkins for 1 emerald, if you level him up again, you would see the trade 4 melons for 1 emerald. This is 2/3 of the pumpkin trade, so you could use the same strategies, either the bone meal or big farm, and just earn more emeralds. Or if you really wanted, instead of having many villagers, you could get a bunch of farmers, and because each farmer does the pumpkin and melon trade, you could use both to earn plenty more emeralds. Now for the 2nd best trade, you barely do anything. The Cleric bottle trade. If you make a gravity block duper, the exact one I was mentioning for the Flint trade with gravel earlier, then you can get a whole lot of sand. Now, to smelt it into glass, you would just use the dried kelp strategy if you remember from the 5th trade. If you don't remember, just rewind the video. But anyway, you could use your spare dried kelp to smelt the sand you get. The more glass, the better, because for every 3 glass you get 3 bottles, so it's simplified to 1 glass per bottle. And because the Cleric trade is 9 bottles or 1 emerald, you would use 9 pieces of glass. So if you put it in terms before smelting, every 9 sand is 1 emerald, or about 7 emeralds per stack of sand. And now for the best emerald trade in all of Minecraft. This trade is identical to the last one except for the fact that you use less sand and you don't need a blaze rod to craft the workstation. For this trade, you need to smelt your sand into glass, like the last one. Then instead of making your glass into bottles, you make it into glass panes. Every 6 glass blocks makes 16 glass panes. So 1 glass makes about 2.67 glass panes. Now if you use the Cartographer's second trading level, then you would see that 11 glass panes is for 1 emerald. If you divide 11 glass panes by 2.67, or the amount of glass panes equivalent to 1 glass, you would see that it takes 4.125 glass for 1 emerald, or in terms before smelting, it takes around 4 sand, or 16 emeralds per stack of sand. So, which of these trades will you be using?